in the next episode, because there'll be a bit of a gap, because obviously we've got to settle in and all those kind of things. But this podcast doesn't take much to set up. We can do this again, you know. Hey, do you remember how I said that this podcast was really easy to set up, and that once we left Australia and moved to Canada, it'd be really easy just to pick it up again?
Yeah, like once you'd settled in, you were just gonna like start it up again.
Yeah, and then
I remember.
I also remember it's been almost a year. It's essentially been a year.
Yep.
Since that time.
Yep.
And I think I'm settled in now.
You think?
I think.
Okay. Me too.
Yeah. Welcome everyone to this insanely belated Canada special podcast of the Mates Rates podcast. As you can tell, we didn't do it.
We're doing it now.
We're doing it now.
Better late than never.
It's been a long 11 months, but we're here. We did it.
We are.
Oh, let's go.
Hey,
let's go.
That could have ended badly.
I know. Yeah, welcome everyone. Oh, see, so rusty. I forgot to set my timer. Anyways, welcome everyone to this very belated special of the Mates Rates podcast. We are no longer in Australia, clearly. That was last episode. If you just want to go back to that one, we're in Melbourne and now we're in Canada. And here we are in October. Oh yeah, we got this beautiful Canada poster behind us, just to clarify that we're in Canada in case any of you think that we're lying about it. Anyways, we're here. I was going to say we did it, but we've been doing it for almost the past year. Oh my!
It's been a minute.
It has been a minute, but yeah. Thanks for coming along for this trip. It's been very crazy, and I thought it was high time after almost a year of being here that we should do another podcast episode. So, yay, good for us. Let's kick off this podcast by talking about the chaos of moving countries. I feel like it's a very unique experience, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it was a big experience. It could probably be like a whole podcast episode in its own. I'm sorry, you have like an eyelash stuck to your eye.
That's okay. I was going to say this camera won't pick it up, but this camera is literally
No,
6K,
but it looks like it was bothering you.
There
you go.
No, my eyes are just in general bothering. Thanks, baby.
Yeah, I mean, that could be like a whole podcast. Like that, we could talk about that for a very long time.
Yeah.
Because it was a long process.
It was a long process. It took us like fucking 3 days to get to this country. It took us a while. I don't know. We need to do like the TLDRs of it because
I also just don't want to like.
It's peaking.
I'm sorry.
Give me a sec. Give me a sec, ladies and gentlemen. Kate's audio is peaking because she's a little bit too excited.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I got carried away.
That's all right. I'm just turning these down.
Quiet,
See, this is how out of, not out of touch, but yeah. I haven't done this for a minute, and I'm raw dogging this audio. I'm not monitoring it, so best of luck post-production, Warwick.
TLDR.
The TLDRs of moving overseas. I just want to say, this is the only thing I want to talk about. So we missed our flight. We didn't miss our flight. Our flight got cancelled to Canada, so we had to spend an extra day in Sydney. Yeah,
so we flew Melbourne to Sydney, and then we were going to fly the next morning from Sydney to San Francisco and then Vancouver because flights weren't going from Melbourne at the time.
Yeah. Again, we need to really speed run this.
Yeah. So we get to Sydney, land in Sydney.
Take your
flight
phone.
Tomorrow's been cancelled.
Take our phone off airplane mode. Flight's been cancelled. And we're like, shit. Immediately get on phone support to United. Find out there's a flight leaving in 45 minutes. And I was like, we're here. Do we just skip staying here for a night and go straight there? And we didn't. We opted to stay for 2 nights in Sydney. Didn't have time, but it was good. We got to, spend time with friends and family and stuff. But this is what I want to talk about. I pride myself on not being a Karen and I want to, or I can, you know, and I want
Yes.
to live. I want my life legacy to be like that. I don't want to become one of those old people that just turn into a Ken. But I pulled out the stops for that situation. I was like, we have to get another COVID test. We have to spend another night at hotel. We were like out of pocket $500 immediately. So I complained. I complained a lot. And they said, we're so sorry. We'll give you an upgrade and we'll refund you some of the flight. I was like, perfect. Great. That'll suffice. Get to our flight and we board it. And mind you, still in the midst of our country just opening. So the flight was like, there was like 20 people on our flight on like a 300 person plane.
It was the day after the borders had
Officially opened. Yeah. So we get on and we go past business and then we immediately sit down in, what was it like? It was
premium economy.
Yeah. So you have economy, you have economy X, and then you have premium economy, which is like the light version of business class, I would say.
Dude.
Premium, dude.
It's premium.
So we got footrests. We got like, you know, our
It was like a
seats
gold
recline.
class cinema.
It was pretty fucking nice.
The food was nicer.
We had like a nice table as well. Oh my gosh. So I pride myself on not being Ken, but if that situation ever happened again, I'm complaining 100% because that free upgrade made that 14-hour flight just so much easier.
It was bliss.
Yeah.
It was really nice.
Plus,
it was
you know,
worth it.
again, there was like no one on the flight, so it was already a great
Yeah.
a great experience compared to what it is now, which is just the complete
Packed
chaos, which
flights.
I do want to talk about because that is also, you know, really, really funny. So we move here, go to immigration and get our visas and everything's like cruisy. Mind you, again, we could talk about this on a whole nother podcast, but the immigration in Canada is... well, the experience we had at least was very nice and easy. They pulled us into the room because we told them we're moving because your visa actually doesn't get approved until you land here. Again, TLDR. So we sit down, we give them all our documents, and then like 15 minutes later, they call us up. And they're like, yep, here's your visas. See you later. And we're like, oh, that's it? Like, you don't have...
We're free to go.
We had like piles of documents and like, you know, we were prepared to answer all these questions and we got asked none of them.
Yeah.
So that was fantastic.
It was.
But yeah, do you have anything to add to the moving experience?
I think just our first experience with like the Canadian border security, like they were all just really kind and they really lived up to that like Canadian stereotype of everyone being really nice and polite because that was definitely the experience that we had. Yeah. Like to the point where like they were joking, like when we got to the room, I was like, I really need to go to the bathroom. Can I use the bathroom? And the security guy in there was like, no. And my face must have just dropped because I was so scared. And he's like, nah, of course you can. It's just through there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay.
And he was chatting with me like crazy. And I was like, is this some undercover cop stuff? I was waiting.
A gotcha moment.
Yeah, I was waiting because it was asking me all these questions about us moving while you were in the bathroom. And I was like... I was scared to answer him because I was like, I'm scared of saying something stupid and they're going to deny us entry to the country. But no, he just genuinely wanted to have a chat. I think because like the airport was like dead quiet at the time as well. Like
they probably hadn't had many people coming internationally, so they're like, ooh, someone new to talk to.
Yeah. They're like, oh, I can do something with my
foreigner.
job. Yeah. Oh, a foreigner. But yeah, we're officially Canadian immigrants, I guess.
We are.
We're technically immigrants. You know, we're very privileged immigrants, but immigrants nonetheless. You know.
Yeah. That's good.
But yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying this setup. This is if you're visually watching this podcast like a psychopath like I am, because I love watching podcasts. I don't like listening to them.
Me too.
So behind Kate is our office.
Home office.
And behind me is our living room. And behind the camera is the bed.
Bedroom.
So the bed.
There's no room. It's just a bed.
we don't have an apartment. We have a room essentially. Like that's what it is. Like it's just a glorified room.
With a couple of doors.
Yeah, and like a bathroom. I have to admit though, if you had this set up in like a house, it would be so sick.
What do you mean?
Like if you had like a studio, like if you're
Like
if
a
we had
granny
this-
flat?
Yeah, but in like a
People
house,
do.
and then you can go to a different room, and you have like a bigger living room. You know?
People do that.
Yeah, I know. The 1% of people that do that, people that don't live in
You're
studio.
like, wow, people have more than studio apartments? Get out.
I sleep in a I sleep in a racing car.
I sleep in a big bed with my
wife. Anyways, a bit of boomer humor there for ya. But yeah, so Vancouver is incredible. I'm sorry. We're gonna rub this shit in because this city, I didn't have high expectations. I had expectations. Obviously, when you're moving countries, you have to have some expectations. And when we got here, and even now, I'm still kind of like, this is ridiculous. We wake up every day and you can't see through the windows because you just can't. But the mountains are right there, and we can also see Lionsgate Bridge. You can see Stanley Park. You can see the ocean. So this...
Well, we can't see the ocean.
No, you can kind of see the ocean. A little bit.
Little bits. I can see. Yeah, I can see a little
yeah,
bit
you
of
can
it
see
here.
like down the bridge there.
little bit.
Don't say which bridge. I don't know. We live in an apartment. It's kind of hard
Dox
to
ourselves.
dox ourselves with that. But yeah, it's incredible here, and even now I'm still kind of like lost for words, almost like a year later, because wake up every day and we have like just these phenomenal views.
Which changed throughout the seasons as well.
Yeah, yeah,
When
yeah.
we first got here, the mountains had snow on them,
Mm-hmm.
which is so magical.
Yep.
And then, as it started to warm up, the snow obviously melted. I mean, it stuck around for a while because, it's cold up there.
Yeah, yeah.
But, and then now and like throughout summer, it's just green, like in the
Mm-hmm.
afternoon, like the sun hits the mountain. You can see
Yep.
like the gondolas going up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a picture.
Yeah, it's again, I have no other words to describe it. Like, and that's like a point that I want to kind of move into as well. Is like trying to explain Vancouver to like our friends and family back at home, and it's just so hard. And we've been very fortunate. We've had people visit us. We've had a couple of friends visit us, and they're like, "Oh, it's like incredible here."
Yeah,
and it's like,
like,
yeah, it is.
Can I just mention, we have a balcony.
means.
It's like 2 meters by 1 meter.
Yeah.
But that's like whenever someone comes over, they're just like straight to the balcony and they're just like, wow.
Yeah, yeah.
It's pretty impressive, I will say.
Yeah, exactly. It's like my favorite part of like our apartment for sure.
The view.
But but it's literally everywhere you go. Because when we first moved here, I was like, okay, that's just this apartment. Maybe we just lucked out with the apartment and the location. Literally every different part of the city, you have a view of like the mountain or the ocean. It is crazy. Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, like we've got friends that live like in like the West End and they have like beautiful ocean views. I mean, they get a bit of the mountains as well. Like I think just anywhere you live here, you have a really great view.
Yeah, which is just phenomenal, really. Yeah. Again, I hope people visit us, while we're here because it is incredible. Oh yeah, also we did say that we were only staying for a year. Spoiler alert, we're staying longer than a year because if we were staying for a year, that means we'd be packing up by now. And I thought about that this morning. I was like, could you imagine?
Next month.
Yeah. If we decided that we'd only stay for a year, we'd be packing up now.
We're just getting started.
We're literally
baby.
just getting started. It's like, yeah, it's crazy. Like, obviously, we're settled and we have like a routine. Like, we have, the coffee shops that we go to regularly and like our favorite food spots. But it's still like the excitement of being here and constantly discovering something new. I haven't experienced that in like any of the cities that I've lived in prior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the first 6 months of being here, we were it was like we were on holidays. Like we were doing all the touristy things and like working a little bit, but mostly just like exploring and like looking around. You okay?
Yeah. No, I was just checking the audio. Don't
And
don't interrupt the flow.
So
Yeah.
the second half of the 6 months has been we're actually settling in and going
Yeah.
to like the regular coffee shops. They now know our names. It's really nice. You
Yeah.
go in and people remember you. It's just that little sense of community has been really nice. 'Cause obviously we experienced that in Melbourne. Like we had our cafes and stuff that we would go to and they would know our names, they would know our order. Like now it's the same thing here. And I think that's a really nice feeling. Like,
Yeah.
like making friends and
Yeah.
settling in that sense is nice. But I think it's the little things like that where people remember you
And we've had this
nice.
discussion before with other people, and I was talking to Joe about it the other day as well. And it's like you always bump into people that you know, but in
This is one of the things I wanted to talk about.
In the whole city, it's crazy. Like, okay, mind you, for the geography nerds out there, this city is tiny. You can walk. We've walked like the whole
downtown
area in like an hour.
Yeah.
It's not that big.
Compared to Melbourne, it's a smaller city.
Yeah, for sure.
Still
100%.
densely populated, but
It's one of the most densely populated in the world. Found that out.
there you go.
You know?
But it's funny, that was one of my talking points because in the last
Let's go.
episode we were talking about Chapel Street, where we were like near where we were living, and that we always bumped into people and it was that real sense of like, you know, this is where we live and we always run into friends or someone that we know.
Yeah.
And that has started happening here.
Yeah.
And that is the best thing ever.
Yeah.
It's the best thing.
Yeah, it's honestly the absolute coolest. And even like I did this like documentary for those that didn't see it. I did this documentary. It was like this cocktail event and like tattoo artist kind of thing. It's pretty cool. I'm just like a bit of self plug.
Link in bio.
And I walked past like those dudes that like I interviewed from the cocktail company like not that long afterwards. I was like, oh, damn. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And so the graphic designer that we met at the event that we were talking to, we were at a street festival here at the Catsalano Street Festival, and he was calling out to us.
Yeah,
we turned around and we're like, "Oh,
yeah, that's
hi.
a trip." Yeah.
We'd met him once, and then he spotted us in public and called out and wanted to have a chat. Because that's another thing.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing to transition into.
Yeah.
People were saying online that Vancouver is not a great place to make friends. Apparently, it's like a cold city. Those people are losers because I wouldn't say like we've made a heap of friends, but it's those interactions. We met that dude once and then at a jam-packed street party, he like flagged us down to have a chat.
And
I was like, I had
honest,
one chat with this dude and I don't know.
He remembered our names. I don't remember his name, and I feel horrible.
I think it was like Jason or something like that.
We're not going to
go there. Anyways, I don't want to embarrass myself. But yeah, it's this city is like people are like
people are friendly.
Yeah.
Like I think
just put the effort in.
Yeah, I think
don't be a shitty person.
It's what you put into it. Like I think any city, any place that you move, it's going to be hard to make friends because, you know, living in Melbourne, I'd been there forever. You've been there for a few years and you make your friend circles and whatever. But it's the same here. Like people have already got established friend groups, but people are open to inviting you into their friend circle and like you can make friends. Like it's not impossible. It's like that anywhere. It's not just Vancouver.
Yeah, exactly.
Like everyone says.
Yeah. And I think like those people that say those kind of things as well, maybe they just don't have like hobbies and, you know, things that like will allow them to make new friends.
I think it depends what you do. I mean, if you work from home and you like don't go to any, you know, if you go to like events. You might meet someone at the gym or you'll make friends with the barista or like you'll run into someone at a store. Like, you know, if you just work from home and you're not meeting people at work and you're not you know, going out, like, you're not going to meet anyone. But you have to like insert yourself into those situations.
I feel like we're being parents right now. We're just like very much like giving advice.
There's so many people I mean, I still get TikToks about how hard it is to make friends in Vancouver. And I'm like,
maybe you're just a shitty person.
Maybe it's
Sorry.
you.
Yeah.
Maybe it's you.
Yeah. Look in. If you think that everything around you
problem.
is the problem, maybe it's you. Maybe you're the problem. Just saying. But yeah, and it's true. Like, you know, I've made friends with the gym around the corner, but you know, I haven't really gotten to the point where I want to hang out with them outside of the gym. One of the dudes I train with, he bartends at a place on Main Street, and he was just like, yeah, like, come through sometime and like, let's just hang out like while I work. I was like, yeah, sure, you know. But yeah, people are nice here, you know.
I guess it does help as well that we did know a few people when we first moved here. Like you knew a couple of people, and like my first job when we got here, I just worked at like a retail store.
Yeah.
And like two of the girls like they have partners and we catch up with them fairly regularly. Like that's how we made friends as well, like through work, and I've kept in touch with them.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's
sure.
Yeah. It's up to you.
Don't be a shitty person. That's our advice. Stop being a shitty person and do stuff. But yeah, is there anything else that you kind of want to talk about in like the infancy stages of us moving here? One thing I do want to quickly say before we start that is one of our pastime favorites, riding bikes around Stanley Park. And oh my God,
you have to do it.
Like Central Park, like, you know, we went to New York in March, and that was dope. And Central Park was cool, but it ain't got shit on Stanley Park. Stanley Park is so it's bigger and it's more dense as well.
And you can actually do a whole lap or like multiple laps of Stanley Park, whereas Central Park you could ride around for hours and you still wouldn't see everything, which is cool, but I feel like riding around Stanley Park, you feel like you've accomplished something because you've actually seen it.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say that was the first time since that was the first moment since we moved that I was like, I love this city. That moment when we were like bombing down that hill.
Oh yeah,
we were going like, you know, 40 kilometers,
like
40 kilometers an hour, and just like feeling like the breeze and all the fresh air. I was like, I love
this living,
city.
Barry.
Yeah. Because again, it's just opportunities that, you know, wouldn't have in Australia. You couldn't do that in Melbourne. No park like that exists in Melbourne.
No.
Anyways, yeah. So going back to the infancy stages of us moving here, is there any highlights or anything that you wanted to mention?
I mean, it's something that we mention all the time, just like the varied landscape and just how close everything is here. So like
nothing seems like a hassle.
Yeah. And like, you know, we'd do day trips and like little road trips in Melbourne, but you'd have to drive, you know,
couple
4
hours.
or 5 hours to get to a nice forest to go for a walk.
Yeah.
And if you wanted to go to the snow, it was like, you know, another 4 hours.
Yeah.
If you wanted to go to everything was like you could get to every landscape in Melbourne, but it would take a long time. Whereas here we could do a half-hour walk, and we're at Stanley Park. We could drive, or we could walk 5 minutes and be at the seawall or like at one of the beaches. We could drive an hour and we're at like less than an hour. We're at a hike. There's mountains. There's just everything here, and it's all so close.
Yeah, exactly. That's the craziest part. And I feel like we've barely scratched the surface, but we've done so much, which is something else I want to kind of transition into. We've traveled more in the last 11 months than we have our entire lives. And it's not because we're rich, you know. I'd say we have like, you know, decent paying jobs.
We're comfortable.
We're comfortable. We're not, you know, as mentioned before,
apartment.
This is the apartment.
Say no more.
Say no more. But yeah, it's crazy how because everything's just way cheaper here. So you know, if you wanted to go to America from Australia, that was like, if you went once a year, you were like balling.
Yeah, well, it wasn't possible to go more than once a year.
Yeah,
Like you'd
yeah.
go once and you'd do like,
Whereas I've
couple of
lost
weeks.
track on how many times we've been to America because it's literally an hour down the road, and we're going again in like 2 weeks for my birthday.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
what are the trips we've done? We
God.
did.
Did New York?
No, so last year before Christmas, or was it in the new year when we first drove down to Bellingham, which is in Washington, just over the border?
Yeah, I think that was
When did
just
we do
before.
that?
I think that was in oh my God. Yeah, December or January.
I can't even
Either
remember.
one of those, yeah.
So we did Bellingham,
Yeah.
Washington, and then we did New York,
Yeah.
and then we did.
I'm zoning out. I
can't
honestly,
even
yeah, like just thinking about it is really overwhelming.
Then we did New York. Hang on, I got this.
Well,
So-
we're pulling out the phone, folks.
And then we went to. So we did New York in March.
Yeah.
Because it was our wedding anniversary.
Happy
And
anniversary.
Thank you. And then we went to Seattle for Easter long weekend.
Oh yeah,
Our friends were going and they invited us last
with
minute.
Danny and Caitlin. Shout out.
And then in June,
Jeez.
we went to Montreal
Yeah.
when Eloise was here from Australia.
Yeah.
Did that for a long weekend. And then,
July, I went to Alaska.
yeah, you went to Alaska.
Yeah,
I didn't.
I went
We're
to
not going to
Alaska.
go there.
Well,
And
I did go
then-
there. You didn't go there.
I did not. That's the reminder. And then a month ago, we went to Chilliwack for my birthday.
Oh, yeah, I went to Chilliwack for your birthday.
which
yeah,
is like
okay,
a couple of
yeah,
hours
yeah.
east from here.
And
then
we
we
went to
went-
Bellingham with Eloise as well.
I
on that
did.
same
I mean, they
trip.
don't really count at this point. It's just
I
a couple
know.
hours drive over the border.
Um,
And then we went to Vancouver Island and we did Tofino and
yeah,
Ucluelet like a month ago.
and then we just did
2
LA.
weeks ago, we did LA.
Yeah, and then
And in 2 weeks,
we're
we're going to
Portland.
So that's a lot.
Again, we're not rich. It's just
It's just-
very cost effective to be able to do it.
It's
like,
just so efficient.
to rent the car for the 3-4 days that
It was
we're going
less than
to Portland.
$200.
Yeah, it's only a couple $100, and then your hotel is just kind of like whatever. You can just stay wherever, like for cheap in America.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's basically crazy that it helps that America is so close. Like Australia is just like so far away from
So
everything.
isolated. It's tough. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk about America, our wonderful neighbors across the border, and the cultural, I guess like the cultural changes, not between Canada and America, but more so just being in Canada, because we are in North America as the
Yeah.
continent. So I'm just kind of trying to wrap my head around like, the American culture in Canada, but the differences between the two at the same time. We have Denny's. There we go. That's something.
And
about America.
IHOP.
And IHOP.
We have. Don't forget about IHOP.
We went to IHOP with our buddy Andrew, and
It was so sad.
oh my God, I felt like though the people working there were like, when we walked in, they're like,
A customer.
yeah, or they were kind of like, we don't know what to do. We haven't had a customer here since 1996.
That's not like the same old guys that come in every week.
They must
you know?
have like a pensioner deal because we were the youngest people there by a mile. Oh wow, look at that eagle just circling over there. See it?
What?
Well, you can't miss it. It's the only
Oh.
eagle in the sky.
No, I think that's just a seagull.
No, that's for sure an eagle.
I don't think
because
that's
its
an
body's
eagle.
white and its wings are black.
Okay, for reference, seagulls here are huge.
Yeah, the
Which
seagull.
is why it's easy to.
See, no, that's
confuse them.
that's a difference. Big
I think
difference.
that is an eagle.
It is an eagle because it's circling. Seagulls don't do that.
America.
Seagulls are just menaces to society. Anyways, going.
Well, okay, so there is a lot of American things
Yes,
here.
yes.
Like there are a lot of similarities between Canada and America, but also
there's a huge European culture.
there's
here.
much more of a European culture, obviously, because you have like the French provinces. So like Quebec is
Yeah.
a French province, and everything here like French is the secondary language here. Like everyone speaks English, but a lot of people speak French,
Yeah.
and Everything that you buy here, the packaging will be in English and in French.
Yeah, yeah.
Which
But then when we
is
went
pretty
to
cool.
Montreal, it was flipped.
Oh,
We got off the
yeah.
plane in Montreal and everything's
you're in our
French.
land now.
And then it was in English. And I was like, we're still in the same fucking country. Like, I
Yeah.
left my passport at home.
I will say the funniest thing about being in Montreal was going into a store and everyone just defaults to French, which that's fine. We,
Yeah.
learn a few words here and there, but everyone had told us they still speak
Uh,
English.
Je m'appelle Je suis. My name is I am.
Je suis.
Je m'appelle Je suis.
We would walk into a store and they would say bonjour, or they would say bonjour, hi,
Yeah.
for both of them,
Yeah.
giving you the option. And
Yeah.
then as soon as we would even we'd try to say bonjour. We're like, we're here, let's speak French. So
Yeah.
they'd say bonjour and you'd say bonjour and they would go, hi.
Yeah.
They're like,
Yeah.
you're not French.
Yeah, which is really funny.
Your accent sucks.
Yeah, and I think it's because, it's literally like the accent because we're watching that jet lag show on YouTube right now.
Oh,
And
yeah.
like they're in France and it's like the most American version of French it's ever.
Croissant.
Yeah. Profiterole?
Yeah.
No,
Like
that's a
they-
dope series. I'm not talking shit on it, but it is funny seeing like the American like version.
But they were a little bit, it did frustrate me a bit where like you would say a word and it's like they know what you're saying, but they're like,
Yeah, they're pretending that you're in a different country.
yeah,
just
it's like, you know what I'm saying.
We're in
like,
Canada.
Yeah, like speak English. It's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah.
People would start talking
Speak
to
English. Oh my god!
that lady in the coffee shop.
You
Was
see
so
that?
Rude
You see
to
that,
me.
folks? You see that, folks? Got him. Racist right here.
I was very accepting of the French culture. I was like, this feels like Europe. I've never been to Europe, but I was like, Montreal feels like Europe. I'll
Yeah.
embrace it. This
Uh-huh.
is great. I'm in a cafe. Mind you, we'd been there the day before. So I knew what I was doing. I was standing in line waiting to order. Same spot as I was yesterday where people were forming a line. And this lady comes in and she like walks around me and stands kind of like and forms a new line. And I'm like, is this bitch for real? Like, I'm clearly standing in the line waiting to order.
Yeah.
And she's like looking me up and down. And then she looks at me and starts talking to me in French. And I said, oh, sorry, no French. I only speak English. And then she immediately flips to English and says, are you waiting to order? The line doesn't start there. It starts here. And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. And then I took a side, like a tiny little side step to the side. And I was like, cool. And now I'm going to order. Like,
Yeah.
I was like,
Which is
she
so,
for real?
yeah, I know. Again, like that would happen a lot in France probably, but definitely not in Canada. So French Canadians, chill out. Okay? We're all
I love poutine.
Yeah.
okay?
We're
It's
part of
great.
the culture. We're immigrants. Sorry, we're immigrants. We don't know any better. So
What differences have you noticed? Like, what was your angle on that? Like between like American culture and Canada.
Yeah, like I don't know. Everyone's way more chill here. I think like Americans are way more just intense people in general.
Well, we were saying we didn't think you'd be up. We're like, oh,
which
North
is what I want to talk about.
Yeah.
I want to talk about. I thought,
All right, let's go.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
We're like North Americans,
Yeah, we thought, American,
Much of the same.
Canada, they're like the same people. No,
Yeah.
they're vastly different people, and I'm Team Canada all the way. And you
We are.
experienced this because this is what I wanted to bring up.
Yes,
Why
great.
I wanted to bring it up. Like we thought moving here, we wouldn't be able to tell the difference between Americans and Canadians, but boy, do we notice a difference.
You
And
can tell.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, Americans.
You noticed it at your old job.
Yeah.
Working in retail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was it was on Granville Island, which is like
The tourist spot.
it's like a
here.
tourist hotspot. Everyone goes
That
there.
and the Gastown steam clock.
Yes,
Yeah.
your favorite, your
Yeah.
favorite
yeah,
landmark
yeah,
here.
Yeah.
So I worked at the store, and it was a hotspot for tourists. It was like a gift store, souvenir kind of thing, but also had like quirky pop culture things. And basically, we'd get so many tourists coming through, and you
Yeah.
could always tell when they were American because they were just.
Why is that? How do you spot an American in Canada? I know the answer.
They're so loud.
Yeah.
They talk really loud.
There's no filter between this and their mouth, their
Yep.
brain and their mouth.
It's all one.
Zero filter.
It's all one.
Zero. They'll
No-
walk in.
No inside thoughts.
No, yeah. No.
Everything is a spoken thought.
Yes, everything
Yeah.
is a spoken thought. They would just, and we noticed it. I think the first time I noticed it, we're on Main Street, and this is when there was still like restrictions, and they only allowing X amount of people in the store. And we were waiting outside, and we went in with these other people, and the girls behind us were just pointing out everything in the store.
Yeah.
And I saw this on a comedy special years ago. I think it was like Jim Jeffries or something like that. It's like probably like 10 years ago now, probably longer. And yeah, it's true. They just spotted everything out. They're like,
Yep.
oh my God, look at this. Oh, would you look at that? Oh, this would be perfect for blah, blah. I'm like, can you, what is going on here? What type of Black Mirror episode am I in?
Yeah. Also, the other thing is, well, they think that America is the only country, like the United States.
Yes.
Just everything
Yes.
revolves around
Yes.
the United States. So much that they would try and pay in American cash at the store.
And
We didn't even take cash, but we're like, we don't accept American currency. And they'd be so shocked.
Yeah, I have noticed since you told me that. I don't know if I ever mentioned it to you, but other places that I've been to around Vancouver in the tourist areas, some of them have signs that say we do not accept American cash.
But also on the flip side, some places say we do accept American
cash,
currency.
Yeah.
Like,
But
I
how
saw
does
it-
that conversion work? I
Well,
don't know.
no, so
I don't want to get into that. Oh no.
What was that?
The New York thing fell off.
Oh, no.
We went to New York. Do you guys know that? We went to New York.
Oh, no. My little postcard from Levain Bakery. I saw a TikTok about this. So it's like
No, you read an article.
I read an article.
You read an article.
I read an article where they were basically saying like Americans are just so self-centered basically that and Canadians are on the flip side so nice. We accept American currency in some stores. Like we go out of our way to accept American currency, but we will give you change back in Canadian.
That's
and
such
I don't
a
know how they
headache.
work out the conversion and stuff. But like,
People-
what other country would do that? America wouldn't do that
No.
for Canada. If you tried to pay
Australia-
in Canadian cash, they'd be like, what the fuck is this?
Australia and New Zealand, you'd be laughed out the door. Laughed out the door.
No country in the
No one would do
world
that.
would you be able to pay in a different currency. But
And-
Canada is so nice. They're like, you know what? We'll take you.
Another article I read stated
Yes.
that you notice with Americans, when you ask them where they're from, they won't say America. They'll say the city and the state. And it's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, where are you from? And oh my gosh. We need to talk about this, though. When we're in New York, this is the funniest thing ever. So people would ask us where we're from. And yes, we are Australians, but we're technically from Canada. We have Canadian driver's license. We have, this is our lives. We don't have anything left in Australia. So we are technically Canadians, I guess, if you want to say it like that.
Yeah.
Well, we're from Canada. So people would ask us, like, oh, where are you from? And we'd say Canada.
You would say Canada because
And-
you just loved
And
getting
yeah,
people's
the
reactions.
look on their faces when we told them that we're from Canada, but we have Australian accents, can't beat it.
Yeah,
Can't beat
they
it.
were very confused.
Yeah, I love it. It was like,
But-
it's my favorite pastime now, and I've done it every time we've gone to America when people ask where we're
But
from.
also Americans, like when we were in LA last week,
Hmm.
they would ask, I get into the lift and they're like, oh, you have an accent. Where are you from? I'm from Australia, but I'm living in Vancouver in Canada at the moment. And they just people just can't.
Americans
They
can't
can't
wrap their head
around wanting to live in another country.
Yes.
They're like,
yeah. They're so
why?
Americanized.
Why? Yeah.
We're just shitting on Americans
Sorry.
right now. Sorry. Sorry to all of our friends in America. We are shitting on you right now.
It's just observations. But
Yeah. Yeah, they're like, what do
Yeah.
you mean you live, like you're from this, but you live there? And it's like,
even one of my Lyft drivers, he was
Yeah.
like, oh, I got to get out of LA. I've always lived here. My family's here. My friends are here. I'm like, well, that was the same for Melbourne. And I said, would you ever,
Where would
consider
you-
moving?
Yeah, to Santa Monica.
Well, yeah, he was like, oh, I don't know if I could move, if I moved, I'd move somewhere else in America. And I said, wouldn't you move overseas? And he's like, like it was out of the question. Absolutely out of the question.
But
Like
why would you leave LA? It's the world's most walkable city.
oh, it really is, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh,
Yeah.
guys! If you want to
I
get
was
your
walking
steps
20,000 steps a day.
if you want to get your steps in, just move to LA. You can
Yeah.
walk everywhere.
Yeah.
You don't need a car. It's fine.
It's fine.
It's
You might
fine.
break your ankle on the sidewalk, but
Yeah, it's all good. Oh, they have great sidewalks. Tell you what, yeah.
Well, they have to build in jumps for all the scooter drivers.
Yeah, I know. Whew, pop some wheelies there, that's for sure. So yeah.
Enough
there's-
America chat.
Yeah, well, we'll probably touch on it again, but it is crazy noticing like how loud and Americans are. I don't know. It's hard to explain. And I don't know, people feel like they will always want to have a political chat with you, and it's like, goddamn, do you guys do anything else in America outside of talking politics?
Yeah.
Do you guys have hobbies? You know, probably not.
No.
Anyways, I do want to talk about traveling because we have done a lot of travel, and you know, I hate saying the word post-pandemic because people are still getting COVID and everything, including us. We got COVID. Hey,
The start of the year.
start of the year.
Had
Kicked
to
off-
check it off the
Yeah.
bingo card.
Yep. Kicked the year off on a positive note, positive COVID test note.
Yep.
Wasn't fun. Thank God for science is all I'm going to say for that. And you guys can have your little political discussion in the comments down below. Anyways, living in this quote unquote post-pandemic world, now that, you know, travel is back up, people can move freely, all that kind of stuff. The chaos of travel is just insane. And so to preface, everyone here in North America is just doing carry-on. No one's checking bags anymore because they don't want
Too
to
risky.
get them lost, which is totally fair enough. But now the problem is because everyone's doing carry-on, there's limited like overhead
Cabin
space.
Yeah.
So you have to, you know, I prided myself of being the last person on the plane.
You can't do that anymore.
Can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they check your
Yep.
bags,
Yep.
and that's it. You can say you can outro your bags. You know, just salute
coming
them away.
Coming back from LA, I only had carry on.
Yeah.
And at the gate, before they started boarding people, they were saying it's a full flight.
And did that on ours as well.
Yeah, we're not sure if we're going to be able to fit everyone's stuff. So if you'd like to check your bag, bring it up to the counter. Do you know how many people went to the counter?
0.
Everyone's like, hell no. I've seen what's happened to the bags.
Yeah, and when Mike booked our tickets, because we flew separately to LA, because we have separate planes.
Separate private jets.
We have separate private jets, so, you know, that's how we couldn't afford the jets because we live in a studio apartment. Anyways, we took separate flights because we booked them separately. Anyways, when Mike booked our tickets for LA, he was saying that he purposely made them so we boarded zone 2. So we
Smart.
just avoided that risk
Smart.
altogether.
Yeah.
Because I feel like people on like standby flights and shit, they would have to get their stuff checked. 100%.
But you wouldn't be able to check your stuff because you're at the gate waiting.
No, they take it off you.
Oh, they take it at the...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if you're like the last check in, they're like, no, because it happened in Montreal, remember? And we would, I think it was Montreal. We'll get on the flight, and it was the person after me that they were like, we're checking everyone's bags in.
Oh,
And I just narrowly missed
Well,
it.
because I booked my ticket to LA last minute. On my flight
Yeah.
back to Vancouver, I was like boarding section 3, and I was
okay.
like, I need to get on at the start of section 3 so I can put my bag,
Yeah.
because I had like a personal item and a small
Yeah.
suitcase. So I was like, if I'm not on there, there's going to be no space. And yeah, when I got on, I couldn't even put my bag above.
Yeah.
Oh, I couldn't put my bag anywhere near where I was seated.
Yeah.
And
you have to put it like halfway down the plane or some
Yeah,
shit.
and it was filling up. I think if I boarded later, I would have had to check it, and then
For sure.
see you later to my
catch ya.
luggage.
No way, you'd never see that shit again.
Yeah.
I forgot to tell you, on my flight back from LA, I had like this old couple just cut in front of me,
Of course.
and I was like,
At the boarding line.
yeah, like as the
People
line
do
was
that on
moving
mine
up,
as well.
Like they just walked up. Like the line is like going
You know
deep
what?
back, and they just
You
cut
know what?
straight in.
Americans.
Yeah, classic Americans.
Can
yeah.
we segue this into into a little Canadian
Yeah.
American thing I
I
would
was
like
just
to
gonna
point
say
out?
that was the second time I almost became a Ken, but I was like, you know what? I don't want to be, you know,
These Americans.
Just let them through. Just let them through. And I was like, my bag will definitely get over the overhead because we're in zone 2. But I was like, just bite your tongue. Anyways,
Yeah.
go on.
You know how I know they're American? Cutting lines because here in Vancouver,
Oh, let's go.
so the public transport system here, incredible.
The
People-
trains drive themselves.
They really do. They're never late. They're every like 5 minutes. I don't care how many people in Vancouver that live here want to complain about the transit system. It's incredible. Go to Melbourne and wait for a peak hour train every 12 minutes that's delayed 12 minutes and
Yeah.
then doesn't turn up and then misses your stop because it's express. I'm not going to go into it.
Yeah.
The trains here are great. And the people boarding the public transport system here, also great. People will line up at the bus stop before the bus has
Yeah.
arrived in a single file along the sidewalk so people can still walk past.
Yep.
And whenever someone comes to the bus stop to wait, they will join the end of the line.
Yep.
So when the bus pulls up, everyone gets into single file and everyone just gets onto the bus in the
Yep.
order that they arrived
Yep.
the bus stop to.
Yeah, it is crazy. And again, the
Beautiful.
politeness of when we've gotten because where our bus stop is, it's like on like a main street. So it's a bit chaotic with like the amount of people that show up, the amount of, oh no, please, after you.
Yeah, they were like, "Oh no, you got to the stop before
Yeah,
me. You
yeah.
get on before me." It's like everyone knows. It's like when you arrive, you get a little ticket, and everyone gets
Yeah,
on
like the
in their
deli.
order.
Yeah,
the
you
deli
pull it-
Woolies.
the little
yeah.
deli ticket. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
It's beautiful. I love it.
Yeah, it's great. Like just like the standard, you know, respect that everyone has just
Yeah.
for like those kind of things. And then the opposite of that, when we were in the hotel in LA and I was down the elevator and I was trying to get off, and this dude just like walks onto the elevator while I'm trying to get off. But there was nowhere for me to go. And like there was a whole bunch of people behind him, and I was like, well, I don't want all these people getting on, then I have to just go back up to the room. Like I have no other option.
Yeah.
So I was just like, I was just like walking straight, and I kind of like pushed him out of the elevator with my body.
American.
Yeah, and then he was like, oh, sorry, I thought you were like getting on. I was like, but you're the first person getting on the elevator. How do you think I was getting on?
World
Anyways.
revolves around
Anyways,
them.
Yeah, but yeah, yes, that is a
People are very
fantastic
polite
point.
and respectful here
Yeah.
in comparison to Melbourne anyway.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a free for all.
Yeah.
Basically, anywhere else that's not Canada.
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 What was that?
Canada. I'm just.
I will
practicing
say in the last
sorry.
podcast,
Yeah, sorry. Go on.
we were talking about Canada and we mentioned something about Toronto and we pronounced the second T in Toronto and I was like, not anymore.
Doesn't exist. Just like the
Toronto.
second W in my name does not exist.
Yep.
Toronto.
We will redact our previous pronunciation of
Redact,
Toronto
redact.
to Toronto.
Toronto.
We're locals.
Yeah.
It's Toronto.
Toronto.
We haven't been, but it's Toronto.
Yeah, and I'm not in a rush to go to Toronto. It just looks like, I don't know. I'd rather just go to New York because it's like the same thing. You know,
I
it's
still
just
want to
like,
go. There's like Niagara Falls and we could like pop over the border, like do Philly and Chicago.
Chicago.
Next trip.
Next trip. Yeah. We should check out on when the cheap flights are going, which is what I want to segue into.
Oh, yeah.
Flair Airlines. Oh my goodness. So we flew, there's a budget airline in Canada called Flair, and we flew to Montreal with that airline. And oh my goodness, if there was like a Greyhound buses for airlines, it's Flair. Because the
Yeah.
people flying, it feels like they never flew before. And again, I got to check my privilege. You know, they might not have flown before. But with Flair Airlines and their cheap tickets, they've now got the opportunity to fly.
So for reference, we flew to Montreal, which is, how many hours flight was it?
Damn, it was long. It was fucking like 6 hours.
Yeah, it's like basically the other side of
Yeah.
the country.
Yeah.
I think it was like $400 each return.
Yeah.
And that was like going on a Thursday night, coming back on a...
Perth would never.
Yeah, like, I mean, Sydney to Melbourne is a couple $100.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Flair is the way to go. I mean, yeah, it's a budget airline, and yeah, a lot of people's flights get cancelled and changed and they lose bags and stuff, but we took carry-on.
Yep.
And we had no issues. Like, we were fine.
Yeah. But the people that flew Flair, I have never seen such chaos on, again, going back to the chaos that is travel at the moment in this current climate. That was just phenomenal to witness. The plane takes off. As soon as the wheels are off, a person like 3 rows in front of us just gets up and walks to the back of the plane. While we're like vertical. We're not. And I was kind of like that. And I've never been scared on a plane before because, I've done it a lot. But I was like, that was the first time where I was like, what's that person doing? I was like,
where's she going?
I was like, where's she going? Yeah, that was just.
I think she just got up and went to the bathroom. But
they were locked.
Yeah, well, like even the flight attendants were like, ma'am, you need to remain seated.
You need to remain seated.
Everyone's like strapped in.
I know.
We're like going up, and she's just like, I need to go.
What was the other thing? There was something in check-in as well, and like.
I remember what it was.
Yeah, okay. Because I don't. That was the first time where I was like, has this person ever flown before?
So it's a budget airline, so like you want to get the cheapest ticket. We did the same. But you get like a personal item for carry-on. If you want to, everything's additional. If you want to check in at the counter, you have to pay extra. If you want a better seat, you pay extra.
Yeah.
If you want to check a bag, you pay extra.
Yeah.
So we didn't do any of the extras. We're like, let's just do the bare minimum.
Raw dog it.
Whatever. Yeah. Turns out we couldn't check in online, so we had to do it at the desk. So we're waiting to check in at the desk.
Because budget airlines means budget apps.
Yeah, the app was terrible.
I think they paid a web developer on Fiverr to do it, and then they just never bothered the upkeep.
Yeah, it was terrible. So we had to check in at the desk, which was fine. We got there with plenty of time. And there was a family in front of us that were checking in, but also dropping off bags. But they were checking so many bags. They had hockey sticks. Do you remember?
Oh, you're talking about on the way back. I was talking about on the way there. There was people in front of us.
Can I finish my story?
Yeah, sorry, go on. Sorry. I forgot podcast formatting. I'm just chatting as if we're having a normal conversation, which now people have realized that I just cut you off. So, husband of the year.
And now you're making a bigger deal of it.
Yeah.
Anyway, they're checking in several bags. And I can't remember what else they were doing, but in our heads, we were like, okay, and we were like adding up how much it would be. And it's like at that point, you may as well go with Air Canada
it's
or
cheaper.
WestJet or like another airline, pay a bit more, but have more included and just have a smoother experience. Like by the time they added on all their bags and stuff, it would have been just as much as a nicer airline.
Yeah.
Yeah. What were you going to say about the way there?
I don't know. It was something like the person was complaining. The person was asking for their ID. Because when you check in on a flight, you need your ID. Mm-hmm. And she was like, what do you need my ID for? I'm like, what?
To prove it's you.
Yeah, I was just so confused by that. I think that it was just like something small and trivial.
American.
Like that.
I don't know.
American.
I just assume. I'm like, sounds like an American thing.
Sounds like America.
That's something an American would do.
So yeah, as we have mentioned, do you want to mention anything else before I continue? Maybe you initiate a point. Initiate.
I didn't really have a good segue from that. I was just quickly glancing at my little dot points that I wanted to talk about.
Okay. Well, yeah. All right.
Okay. So tomorrow is Canadian Thanksgiving, which is something we've not experienced before. Australia doesn't have Thanksgiving, and we missed it here last year. For whatever reason, Canadian Thanksgiving is not the same day as American Thanksgiving. I don't know why.
Don't know why, don't care.
It is tomorrow, Monday. Or is it today?
No, it's tomorrow.
It's tomorrow. We are hosting a little Friendsgiving thing tonight with our friends, like an orphan Thanksgiving. So that's really fun. But my segue is into Christmas here.
Yes.
Christmas last year was magical.
Phenomenal.
It was magical.
Yeah. It was. Yeah. Actually, magical is a much better word.
Yeah. It was everything you could imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Like watching Christmas movies as a kid, in Australia, it's summer, so it's snowing in the movies, and everyone's having like, hot cocoa and playing in the snow and like doing all the Northern Hemisphere things, and we're just like, cool, it's 40 degrees here, and
Hit
we're
the
having
beach.
cold foods
Cold
for
meats.
lunch.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It snowed here.
Yep. It snowed all day.
Sorry, a bug just flew into
Oh
my
yeah, I
face.
saw that. It was like snowing sideways while we're eating our brunch. Went to a restaurant. Had like a little Christmas brunch, and we were watching it snow like crazy outside.
Yeah, but just the festive spirit here feels way more intense, and it starts way earlier.
Yeah.
So in Australia, they're start of December, but now it's creeping into like November, October. They start putting Christmas stuff out. But here, once fall starts and autumn has begun and the leaves start changing, everyone's transitioning into like fall vibes.
Yeah.
And then it's just like a slippery slope from there until Christmas.
Yes.
So you've got fall, Thanksgiving, Halloween.
Yeah. Halloween's in a few weeks.
And
Very
then
exciting.
all the Christmas stuff kicks in.
Yeah.
So I feel like you have like a solid like 4 months of like
Just back to back.
festive stuff.
Yes.
And it's just so much fun.
Yes.
Such a novelty.
Yeah. Having a white Christmas was definitely the coolest thing ever. Not even gonna lie. Again, it's like I hate to brag, but life here is sick.
Yeah. It was really
I'm over
nice.
being apologetic about it. Life here is sick. What I was gonna say as well, to ask a question about our neighbors across the land. We've been to LA. We've been to New York. You had an option to live in one or the other. New York. Before I even finished, New York. Yes. I was talking to Joe about this the other day at his studio. Yeah. LA sucks. Sorry.
It does.
The thing is, LA has so much potential.
It really does. But it just
They
blows.
blew it.
They blew it.
They blew it. I don't know how. Whenever they made the city, they
It's
blew
just
it.
poor town planning. Like the traffic's terrible.
Yeah. Again, very privileged to be able to have been there a bunch, and like, for
Just
me to
every
be
time
able to
I go, it
work
gets
there.
worse.
Yeah, but every time we go, yeah, you're right, it just gets worse. Like when we went last, and
Well, to be fair, last time we went to Disney, and we're not Disney adults. Don't come for us. But I go like when we go to LA and we go to Disney, it's magical. It's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
You go. I'll buy the fucking ears. I'll wear some like Minnie Mouse socks.
you got to do
I'll
it all.
cosplay a Disney adult for the day.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
we leave Disneyland, no more.
Yeah,
Done.
yeah. Out the door, those ears come off.
Yeah.
But last time we were there, geez, like, and yeah, I've said this before. You spend a third of your life sleeping, but another third of your life for people that live in LA is just stuck in traffic because it's just. But the thing is, you have no option. You have to drive.
There's no public
everywhere.
transport. You can't really walk much because nothing's grouped together.
Yeah.
It's just so poorly planned and laid out.
Yeah, exactly. Spent a lot of money on Lyfts and Ubers.
That's all I spent my money on.
Yeah, I looked at my transactions and I spent like, oh god, I think I spent like $300 on.
I spent like $500.
I know, just on transport.
Yeah.
Like-
well, it was like $50 just to get from the hotel to like the area I wanted to go for the day.
Yep.
And then I'd try and go to an area where I could stay for
Mm.
a while and then getting the Uber back. And I did that 5 times.
Welcome back to this podcast of two white people complaining about their privilege. But I don't know.
Do better, LA. I
Yeah.
want to like you.
Yeah. And
I
like
want to like you.
We
I
are
just don't.
we are spoiled for choice here because this is such an amazing city to be able to like zip around anywhere, and I think that's why people probably like. I think that's why we would prefer New York as well if we had the option, because New York, you just same kind of thing, public
Yeah.
transport everywhere. But
yeah, or you can walk and
bike it, whatever.
yeah.
And there's always stuff there, whereas LA is just like super residential between the spots that you need to be at, which is really frustrating.
It's just like a strip mall in a neighborhood and then a gas station and then another strip mall. So like if you actually wanted to do shopping, you'd have to like jet around to all these different things.
Yeah.
Like just don't make sense.
Yeah. But another great thing about living in this country is the amount of gigs that happen here. So that's something that doesn't really happen in, like, obviously Australia has shows, but man, like, you know, you're waiting for an artist. Like, we saw Tyler, Creator in New York, flex, but that was really cool. But he didn't go to Australia until like the end of the year for Splendor in the Grass. So, you know, I feel like Australia's always like the last one like left behind, I guess.
And also, it's so expensive to go to gigs in Australia because, you know, granted, they've made the trip of coming to Australia, especially with the Tyler show. You know, if you have a big set design and or your crew and like, you know, instruments, all of that, like to get it over here, I understand it's expensive, but going to a show here is so cheap.
Yeah. Oh, he actually didn't take his full production to Australia.
I'm not surprised. It's expensive.
Yeah. Carting a Rolls Royce over there would be way too much.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's true. You know, you've been to shows by yourself, and I've done the same as well. You know, like
I went and saw the Mayday Parade, like
you went to that one.
album anniversary tour thing.
Yeah,
and it was like, I think it was like $60.
Yeah, and like that's
Insane.
the thing. I'm part of me wonders if that's just something we never really did in Australia because the costs or because we weren't really looking out for it. But yeah, here it just seems like there's just so much more going on. And I think the cost does kind of play into it because, yeah, Australia is ridiculously expensive.
But it is here too.
It is here too, but at the same time, we've done more in the 11 months than we have our whole time together. So I'm kind of like, maybe it's just better here. I don't know. I'm not an economist, you know. I'm barely past math.
But like also being in a new place, like we want to explore.
We want to experience a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
We are going back to Australia in Feb.
For a trip.
For a few weeks, yeah, just to see everyone. But boy, did that cost a lot of money.
Cheaper than going at Christmas.
Jesus, yeah, Christmas flights were like $7,000 each. So yeah, we're doing another Christmas here, another white Christmas, which is great.
Obviously we miss friends and family and we want to see them, but I'm sorry, $7,000.
No.
Not worth it. We'll just go back in Feb.
Absolutely.
We are going back in Feb. So.
Yeah. So we'll be back for a few weeks, which is cool. But yeah, and something else I kind of wanted to touch on. We're kind of like getting to the tail end of the podcast here as well. I wouldn't say like cultural differences because I feel like Vancouver lacks in culture like Melbourne does, but like the arts here is actually pretty cool. Like the creative side of things is like a lot happening here, and it's different. I'd want to say.
My point is, I think it's just harder to discover it here. I think Melbourne's a bit more open about like arts and like you'll find events and things more easily. Whereas here, you really have to dig.
Yeah,
like I feel like they just don't promote things as well here.
Yeah, do better, Vancouver. It is true though.
If we're going to have any negative about Vancouver, I think that's one of them. They just need to do a better job at social media, like talking about like a arts and crafts market that's on.
Yeah.
Because I really have to dig to find them.
Yeah, it is kind of weird in that sense here for that. But yeah, that actually is a good point. Like the cons of living in Vancouver, but not many when you think about it.
It's pretty good.
I'm trying to. Everything is just more convenient here. Like things just make more sense in North America as a whole compared to Australia. Like getting things delivered is a lot easier. It's just like everyday stuff. You're like, and yeah, the transport system as well. Like
fantastic.
You know, it's a beautiful day, so we'll probably just walk to Robson Street after this because we've got to get a few things, but. Could get a bus and it's like, oh no, I missed the bus, wait 30 seconds, another bus comes. Like it's efficient.
It's
here.
very accessible as well.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I don't know the exact fact, but I read or heard somewhere that a previous mayor
Yeah,
or like
yeah.
someone high up in like the city was like disabled
Yeah.
or like I think they were in a wheelchair, and so that they implemented a lot of things in the city so that it's more accessible for people.
Yeah.
And that's great. I think
Yeah.
more cities need to do that. Like, no store, like, I can't think of any store that doesn't have like accessible entrance. Like, they'll have a ramp, or it'll be, you know, no lips to go into stores. They have the little buttons so that you press the
Yeah.
button and the door opens for you.
Yeah.
It's
great.
It's really good.
Yeah. And again, like a lot of things are just really well thought out
Yeah.
in this city to make it easier for everyone. And like, you know, the grid system for like all the roads.
We
and
love a grid
everything.
system.
Oh yeah, numbered streets. Oh god damn, that
Yep.
is like that is the best thing ever. You know, it's I don't know why Australia never did that, but I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It does help.
Is there any points that you want to bring up before we wrap this up?
What else was on my?
Because I'm getting hungry for some Tim Hortons. No, I'm kidding. We very rarely have Tim
I
Hortons.
haven't had
here.
Timmy's for a while. That was very much a novelty when we first moved
Yeah.
here, but really it's not that great. It's a novelty.
Did take advantage of Tim Biebs though when Bieber did his
Yeah.
collab with his Tim
Well,
Bits.
they have fall flavored things, so maybe we'll go get like some. They have like a pumpkin cheesecake donut or something at the moment. That we
Well,
haven't
let's get
tried.
some Tim Bits for tonight as well.
Oh, we have so much food for
We do
tonight.
have a lot of food for tonight, but I'm very excited. I'm just very excited, and we don't even we get done with tomorrow. So
Yeah,
that
that was
it?
pretty much all my points.
that was it. That was it.
I,
That was all of it. Oh,
I think so.
yeah. Life here is great, folks, and
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's very much a relaxed city here.
oh damn,
That
we
would
didn't
be my
even,
last point.
Yeah, didn't even bring that up. Yeah,
Like, it's a small city. Well, it's what do people say? It's a small town vibes in a big city. But
Yes.
it's not a big city.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
it's very much like a small town vibe.
yeah, and it's great. Like it took me a while to understand that, but I was like a few months in living here, and we were like sitting by the beach, and I was like, I get it. Like, no one's in a hurry.
Yeah.
There's no kind of like hustle culture here. I've actually very rarely seen like hustle culture shit here.
I mean, the traffic here is
Non-existent.
almost non-existent.
Yeah, yeah.
There's no peak hour.
If
no rush hour.
if you have to drive half an hour in traffic, that's like the worst it kind of gets. But you know, if you live on like North Van or West Van, which we're too poor to live on that end.
Yeah.
Oh shit, that's what we should have brought up. A different level of rich here as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to do another episode.
Yeah,
Let us know
I'm
if you
down.
want us to do
Yeah,
another episode.
Leave a comment below. Drop a comment.
Comment down below.
Smash the like and subscribe button. But yeah, we better wrap it up because I'm getting hungry and we got to do some stuff as well.
For Thanksgiving.
For Thanksgiving. Oh yeah, gosh, people
Yay.
coming over in a couple of hours. That's good. I'm
Give
very excited.
thanks.
Give thanks.
Be thankful.
I'm thankful for.
What are you thankful for?
I'm thankful for you. Thankful for this country, this city, this podcast,
This opportunity to live in this beautiful city.
Yeah, beautiful British Columbia.
It is.
Yeah. All right. I think that's going to be it, folks. It's a chill
That's
one.
all.
But thanks for coming along and hearing about our catch up, I guess, of what we've been up to. It was very TLDR. A lot of details to get into.
Yeah, I feel like we had a lot more to talk about.
Yeah, we barely scratched the surface. I felt like that was an intro to an essay, but we've been running this for over an hour now, so we'll wrap it up. All right. Peace and love. And
Bye.
bye.